claims responsibility for trying to bomb a U.S. airliner out of the sky on Christmas, making America pay for reported strikes in Yemen. And they threaten more attacks. Plus, the first Homeland Security Chief, Tom Ridge. What does he think of Janet Napolitano's controversial remarks that the system worked and her little backpedaling today? He'll tell us if President Obama's response is tough enough.
We will continue to use every element of our national power to disrupt, to dismantle, and defeat the violent extremists who threaten us.
All that and more next on Larry King Live. Good evening. The Christmas Day bomb plot story is getting more interesting by the hour. We've got Ed Henry, CNN senior White House correspondent, with us from Hawaii, and Nick Robertson, CNN senior international correspondent, he's in London, to talk about the very latest developments. Now, CNN has obtained photos of the underwear bomb the terror suspect allegedly used to try to bring down Flight 253. Now, Nick, what do these interesting, to say the least, photos tell us?
Well, they tell us this is the way the bombs were hit, and I spent a good part of today with a bomb-making expert who showed us the explosives, the PETN, this powdered or sort of paste-like explosive, and its destructive force. What's interesting here is, Larry, that we learned today is this is a very, very stable substance. You can bang it quite hard. You can wear it in underwear for thousands of air miles, and you don't have to worry about somebody bumping into you and the explosives going off inadvertently. But the other thing we learned is just how destructive it is. We watched a test today with enough explosives to fill the cap of my pen here, and it blew a huge dent in a tiny piece of aluminum about double thickness of an aircraft skin. The amount enough to smash a hole in the side of an aircraft, Larry.
Will all those people have been killed, do you think?
That's what the experts are weighing up. Several things factor in. Could the aircraft have landed with a big gaping hole in the side? Possibly. That's been done before. If some of the control mechanisms had been damaged, if the fuel tank nearby where he was sitting had exploded because it was mostly empty, mostly fumes at the end of a long flight, that could have brought the plane down. It would have been very, very tough. And according to our expert, he would not have wanted to be on that aircraft when that bomb went off, Larry.
Ed Henry drama today. The president breaks off a golf game, rushes back to the compound where he and the family are staying. What happened?
Well, we were here and covering this story, and all of a sudden we get word the president broke off the golf game and the motorcade left the golf course at a very rapid speed to go back to his home. And then we understand an ambulance was sort of speeding away from the home. Obviously, given the nature of the threat, given the developments the last couple of days, a lot of people were alarmed. It turned out that one of the children, a family friend staying with the Obamas for the holidays, had basically cut open his chin. And his father was one of the golfing partners of the president. And so the president wanted to make sure that the father was able to go see his son, get the medical attention that was needed. For a brief few moments, though, there was quite a scare that perhaps there had been a security threat at the home, or maybe somebody in the first family had been injured. Thankfully, they had not been, and we're also told the young boy is getting better now. Larry.
Ed, the president made his first public comments about the failed Christmas Day terror attack today. Here's a little of what he said.
This was a serious reminder of the dangers that we face and the nature of those who threaten our homeland. Had the suspect succeeded in bringing down that plane, it could have killed nearly 300 passengers and crew, innocent civilians preparing to celebrate the holidays with their families and friends. The American people should be assured that we are doing everything in our power to keep you and your family safe and secure during this busy holiday season.
Ed, what was your reaction to that?
Well, you know, in talking to some of the president's senior-most aides, they say he's now getting up to about a half dozen briefings a day on this and the broader terror threat, even while he's on vacation in Hawaii. We just picked it up in the last few moments, and that tells you they realize this is one of this president's first real tests as commander-in-chief as he closes his first year to protect the American homeland. And I think they had a little issue that you noted at the top about the fact that the president didn't speak for a few days, instead was content, according to his aides, to put out his his Homeland Security chief, Janet Napolitano, and instead she came out and said the system worked. And obviously it doesn't appear that the system worked, and that may have been one of the factors in finally getting the president out there to try to calm the American public, Larry.
Nick, prior to Obama's statements, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula issues a statement taking credit for all this. What's the reaction to that?
Well, you've got to look at it, Larry, with a little bit of cynicism and say, is this Al-Qaeda taking opportunity out of somebody else's success? Are they just trying to boost their own support because they need more recruits and because they're getting a hard time in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and inside Iraq as well? But they did say some things in this statement that do perhaps bear out a little bit of truth. They say that they developed this special bomb that Abdul Muttalib used on this is alleged to have used on the aircraft. They call it a special bomb. They say they designed it and tested it to be able to get around security systems. It used PETN, this highly explosive material. Well, we know a Yemeni went to Saudi Arabia in August and tried to kill the deputy interior minister with exactly the same type of bomb. And guess what? When Yemeni authorities went after Al-Qaeda just a week before Christmas in one of their camps, what did they find? PETN, this same explosive used in this underwear bomb. So there seems to be some things here that say Al-Qaeda maybe did have something to do with it. Larry?
What, Ed, is the administration's response to Al-Qaeda's statement?
Well, exactly as Nick said, they don't want to give it too much credence yet because Al-Qaeda could be puffing itself up here. This suspect could also be trying to exaggerate his own influence with a terror group. He could be making up these statements about having ties to Al-Qaeda. So they're being very cool to it. They're not independently confirming an Al-Qaeda connection. They're not confirming that. The other key point I would make is that today in his remarks, the president said the U.S. will not just stay on defense and beef that up, but we'll stay on offense and go after the terrorists in places like Yemen. Why that's significant is in this Al-Qaeda statement today, they claimed that this attempted terror threat on Christmas Day was a retaliation for airstrikes against Al-Qaeda in Yemen in recent days. Now, the U.S. has not claimed credit or responsibility for those airstrikes taking out Al-Qaeda leaders in recent days, but the president going out publicly and telling the world we're staying on offense against terrorists in Yemen seemed like a very clear signal when you talk to top White House aides that the U.S. is very much trying to root out terrorists in Yemen, and there's a real confrontation going on behind the scenes, Larry.
Thanks to Ed Henry and Nick Robertson.